Hi, everyone, and welcome to Dentist's Coffee Time. I am so glad you're here. Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating case that sits right at the intersection of art and science. We're going to see how a smile can be completely transformed, not through aggressive work, but through careful planning and patience, kind of like how an architect designs and builds a masterpiece. So every great project starts with a simple request, right? And this is ours. Our patient came in with this very clear, very relatable goal. This single sentence was the spark that ignited a whole journey, a journey involving multiple specialists, all working together to create a result that was not just beautiful, but also incredibly conservative. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the patient's wish. Then, we'll explore the blueprint for designing a great smile. From there, we'll see how the foundation was perfectly positioned, how the veneers were crafted, and finally, the big reveal, the art of the final smile. It's going to be a great journey. All right, let's dive right in. Our story starts at the New York University College of Dentistry. A patient walks in, and her main concern is pretty straightforward. She's unhappy with the gaps between her teeth and just wants to improve her smile. This is our starting point, our before picture. This is the challenge presented to our team of dental architects. Now, this is where that simple wish gets translated into the language of dentistry. And this table is basically the surveyor's report. We see an 8 mm space in her upper arch. That's significant. We also see her midline, the center of her smile, is shifted about a millimeter to the right. And her overbite and overjet, that's just how the top teeth overlap the bottom ones, it's pretty shallow. So this isn't just a list of issues. This is the specific architectural problem we need to solve. So before you ever start building, you need a blueprint, right? You can't just start throwing up walls. It's the exact same in cosmetic dentistry. So before anyone even thought about touching a tooth, the team took a step back to really think about the core principles of what actually makes a smile beautiful. This is where art and science really start to blend together. First up, and this is probably the most important one, balance. You know when you look at something and it just feels right, stable? That's balance. In a smile, it means the right and left sides should be a mirror image of each other, but it's more subtle than that. See that term, axial inclinations? That's just the slight tilt of each tooth. For a truly natural look, they should all gently lean inward toward the center, kind of like they're all huddling together. It creates this beautiful, harmonious flow. Now, for a concept that might sound a little weird, negative space. We're talking about those little dark triangles you see in the corners of a wide smile. That's called the buccal corridor. And here's the key. You don't want to get rid of it. A smile with zero negative space can look kind of fake, a bit too toothy. That little bit of darkness actually frames the teeth, just like the matting on a picture frame. It makes the whole smile look more natural and appealing. It's a huge detail. So you have all these artsy principles: balance, negative space, harmony. How do you actually apply them to a real person? Well, that's where this comes in. The NYUCD Smile Evaluation Form is the tool that bridges that gap. It's a super detailed checklist that forces the clinician to analyze every single one of these aesthetics factors systematically. This is what turns those abstract ideas into a concrete step-by-step plan. This is the official blueprint. Okay, blueprint in hand, it's time to break ground. And the very first phase of construction might surprise you. We're not jumping to veneers, we're starting with orthodontics. Now, a lot of people think braces are just for straightening teeth, but in a case like this, it's so much more. Think of it as site preparation. You're creating the perfect foundation so that the final restorations can be as minimally invasive as possible. It's absolutely brilliant. The goals for the orthodontic phase were incredibly specific. This wasn't just about closing those gaps willy-nilly. No, the real magic was in distributing that 8 mm of upper space perfectly. Think about it like setting up fence posts. You have to space them out just right before you can put the panels on. Same idea here. Each tooth was moved to its ideal future position to make room for a perfectly proportioned veneer later. At the same time, of course, they corrected the midline and built a stable, functional bite. And this crucial foundation work took 9 months. Using self-ligating brackets and tiny coil springs, the orthodontist was like a chess master, carefully guiding each tooth into its perfect final position. Now here's a really interesting real-world detail. The patient was hoping for a shorter treatment time, so the team had a conversation and made a smart clinical compromise. They decided to focus on making the upper midline perfectly centered with her face, because that's what everyone sees, even if it meant the upper and lower midlines weren't perfectly aligned with each other. It's a perfect example of balancing ideal goals with a patient's real-life wishes. And boom, here's the result of all that foundational work. On the left, you see where we started. On the right, after 9 months, what a transformation. The large random gaps are now perfectly proportioned spaces. The midline is centered. The bite is ideal. The canvas has been perfectly prepped. Now the artist can come in to paint the masterpiece. All right, with every tooth standing in its perfect position, we shift gears. We're moving from the architect to the fine artist, the sculptor. This is the restorative phase. This is where the final smile gets sculpted layer by delicate layer, with an incredible focus on shape, on color, and on the way the light hits every single surface. The whole philosophy here was additive dentistry, not subtractive. Because the orthodontics did all the heavy lifting, almost no healthy tooth structure had to be drilled away. The process is so cool. It starts with a diagnostic wax-up, which is basically a 3D model of the final smile. Then, using that model as a guide, they prepare the teeth, and we're talking about removing only 0.5 millimeter of enamel. That's about the thickness of a business card. And the best part, the patient gets to test drive her new smile with temporary veneers, so she can see it, feel it, and give the final approval. So, what were the final veneers made of? A material called feldspathic porcelain, and this stuff is just incredible. It's famous for its ability to mimic the natural translucency and vitality of real tooth enamel. It just plays with light in a beautiful way. And because it can be made incredibly thin, it's perfect for this minimally invasive approach. A master dental ceramist then takes this porcelain and literally layers it by hand, shade by shade, to create a final result that is absolutely indistinguishable from a natural tooth. It's pure art. So, after 9 months of moving teeth, after all the meticulous planning, the blueprints, and the incredible handcrafted artistry in the lab, we finally arrive at the moment of truth. This is where all the different pieces of the puzzle, the science, the art, the interdisciplinary teamwork, all come together to create the final beautiful smile. So let's step back for a second and ask the most important question. After all of that time and effort, what was the actual result? Did this comprehensive approach really deliver on the patient's original wish and solve all those clinical challenges we identified at the start? And here is the final report card. Let's just go down the list. The maxillary midline, bam, perfectly centered with the face. Those axial inclinations we talked about, now they have that beautiful, harmonious inward tilt. All the spaces, seamlessly closed. That buccal corridor, the negative space, it's there, it's balanced, it's beautiful. And functionally, the bite is stable and healthy. Every single goal was met. And most importantly, the patient's chief concern was completely and successfully fulfilled. So I think the biggest takeaway from this whole case is this. Truly exceptional aesthetic results are never a shortcut. They come from a thoughtful, collaborative plan that always puts the long-term health of the teeth first. By taking the time to do the orthodontics first, the team preserved precious, healthy tooth structure and created a result that isn't just stunning today, but is built to be healthy and beautiful for years and years to come. And that brings me to a final thought for you. We've gone deep into the technical side, the architecture of creating a smile. But I want to leave you with a bigger question. Beyond all the clinical details, what does a smile really mean to you when it comes to personal identity and self-confidence? I would genuinely love to read your thoughts on this, so please share them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. This is Dentist's Coffee Time. Bye-bye.